Yes, it was a day like this. News started circulating on social media that the Chief of Defense Forces, Francis Ogola, had perished in an aeroplane crash. At first, we thought it was a joke. At first, we thought that these are usual rumors which are being circulated on social media. But the President William Ruto came out and had a meeting with all armed forces and came out to confirm that indeed Francis Ogola had lost his life in a plane crash.
The Kenya Air Force has constituted and dispatched an air investigation team to establish the cause of the air crash. In honor of the life and the distinguished military career of the fallen general who lost his life not just while in office, but in active military duty, the nation will observe a period of 3 days of mourning commencing tomorrow, the 19th of April, 2024.
He's the first high caliber person to die in a plane crash occupying that office, and it brought a lot of questions. We all know that Francis Ogola has a history of meddling into the 2017 election, and by him dying in a plane crash, it brought a lot of questions. So in this episode, I've come to give you a detailed view on why I think the system which blocked William Ruto from ascending to the presidency is responsible for killing Francis Ogola, point out points which made Francis Ogola a target, but most importantly, the study materials we can learn from the politics of Kenya. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, Francis Ogola had served the army for more than 30 years. Previously, he was the head of the Air Force. And when Kibochi was retired, Francis Ogola was appointed as the Chief of Defense Force. I wanted to give you that background so that you can know the caliber of a person who died in a plane crash. Together with him were other soldiers. Reports say that there were 7, and there were 2 survivors. In fact, one survivor is here. He doesn't look to be having a lot of injuries. More questions must arise. Okay, why Francis Ogola's death in a plane crash is so controversial? It's because of the politics in Kenya. The system, on my opinion, is the one which murdered Francis Ogola, and I'm going to explain this better. Before I explain this better, I want to first explain the system to you guys. Every country has a system that runs the politics of a country. In countries like America, Russia, and those big democracies, they have a system which has a national agenda. In fact, they don't care about who is at the helm, as long as there is a national agenda. In smaller democracies, we tend to have systems which are individual driven. They want to capture the country for their selfish interest. And this came true when it came to the politics of Kenya. Before I talk about the death of Francis Ogola, the system in Kenya started during Jomo Kenyatta's era. Together his nemesis, the father of Raila Amolo Odinga, Jaramogi Odinga. Moi also came in the picture. Remember, Moi, Jaramogi, and Jomo Kenyatta were among the founding fathers of this nation. And they built a system such that their sons, their granddaughters, and their forward children can take over Kenya. And in fact, at some extent, they have been successful. For those who doubt, I'm going to give you an example. When Jomo Kenyatta died in office, the successor was Arap Moi. Some people called him the passing cloud, but he was able to rule Kenya for more than 21 years. I'm just giving you a background so that I can give you the reason as to why the system was responsible for killing Francis Ogola. Arap Moi, so that he was going to go away from politics, he backed a novice in Uhuru Kenyatta because they have an individual system where their children would become president.
Kwa sababu dunia hii imeenda ukabila, vyama vyote vya kikabila, na nikaona kwamba yule ambaye anaweza kuendesha kupeleka wananchi kama vile mimi ningependelea wananchi kuongozwa ni Uhuru Kenyatta. Huyo kijana huyu, na mimi na washukuru wala ambao wangetaka kufuata ile yangu. Kama upati usikitu, weka mikono juu nione.
And I think Arap Moi did this because he wanted, he thought that his son Gideon Moi right now would be supported by Uhuru Kenyatta, and fate would have it Kibaki won that election. So one may ask, why is it that a person like Kibaki, who was not among the system, came in the queue and became president? Normally how the system works, they can give it to a person who they are sure that he will bring back the mantle to the queue. For example, Kibaki was not among the system, but they were very sure that at the end of Kibaki's era, he will give the mantra to Uhuru Kenyatta, who was part of the system. So sometimes the system can get a candidate who they are sure that after the end of that candidate, he will give back the mantra to the system. And this is what happened, ladies and gentlemen. Uhuru Kenyatta took the mantra. Uhuru Kenyatta ruled Kenya for 10 years, and when it was time for Uhuru Kenyatta to go, and since he's part of the system, because we all know Uhuru Kenyatta is the largest landowner, among the largest landowner and businesses in Kenya. Raila Odinga is among the biggest landowners and business in Kenya. The Moise family is among the biggest landowners in business in Kenya. Those form the core system. When Uhuru Kenyatta went, he didn't want his deputy, William Ruto, to be in the queue because he was not sure that if the mantle is given to Ruto, that the mantle will be brought back in the queue. That's why he opted to support the opposition leader who was never even supported him, coming at a background that Ruto has supported Uhuru Kenyatta for a long time, but he decided to support Raila Amolo Odinga.
Ndio sisi tunataka hii azimio ambayo itatulete pamoja. Because na ndio mimi sasa nimesema, kwa sababu wakati wa siasa umefika. Sisi kama Jubilee sasa tumetoka ofisi na sasa tunaingia kiwanja ya siasa.
I'm just building a point to tell you why the system killed Francis Ogola. When he supported Raila Amolo Odinga, you clearly see that even Gideon Moi was in the backyard of Ruto. They come from the same community. It was more evident that Ruto was far ahead of Gideon Moi, but Gideon Moi never supported his person. The person from his community decided to support Raila Amolo Odinga because they were sure that the system was going to give it to Raila Amolo Odinga. You even saw that Martha Karua was made the deputy of Raila Amolo Odinga as a compromise candidate. In case Raila is gone, Martha Karua can get the mantra, and for sure he will give it back to the system. For example, if Raila Odinga had won the election with Martha Karua as deputy, we all know that Raila Odinga is aging. So Martha Karua would be having a lot of chances to ascend to the presidency with Gideon Moi deputizing her, so that the mantra can be given to Gideon Moi as the son of Raila Amolo Odinga or her daughter grow up, so that they can get the mantra. That is the system. But as fate would have it, Ruto won an election
We have walked the journey of ensuring that Kenyans get a free, fair, and credible election. It's not been an easy journey. Right now, 2 of my commissioners and the CEO are injured. And of course, they are being treated. We have staff who have been profiled. There's a staff returning officer in Bakassi West who disappeared while on duty. We have staff who have been arbitrarily arrested for no reasons. We don't know where they are. Some from this National Tallying Center. But we have a constitutional duty to perform. So Kenyans came out and voted on the 9th of August. And these are the results of what the will of the Kenyan people reflects. These results are in the public portal. The same results which I'm reading here are the ones in the public portal. Odinga Raila, total valid votes, 6,942,930. And this represents 48.85% of the votes garnered, and he achieved a number of counties the candidate attained with at least 25% of the total valid votes cast is 34 counties. Ruto William Samoei, number of valid votes, 7 million. Thank you. 7,176,141. This represents 50.49%. In accordance with the law, the Constitution and the law, I, Wafula Chebukati, Chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei.
And the system wasn't prepared to see Ruto winning an election because they were sure that if Ruto took away the mantra, he would not bring it back to the system. That's why he picked Rigathi Gachagua, because in the current setting, after the president, Rigathi Gachagua has high chances. In fact, Ruto set a precedent that the deputy president can become the president of Kenya. And remember, Rigathi Gachagua is not also in the system. Okay? So, this is the day the death of Francis Ogolla started in the 2021 general election. In the 2021 general election, the system was against William Ruto to be president, but he had to fight. He fought the system. In fact, among the very many people who have ever ruled Kenya, I think William Ruto must be put at the helm because of fighting the system. Apart from Jomo Kenyatta, who fought the whites and his comrades, Ruto comes second because he beat the system hands down. At the day of the tallying of the results, Uhuru Kenyatta sent the system, commanded by Francis Ogolla, Hilary Mutyambai, and other soldiers, to overturn the victory of William Ruto. This was seen in cameras where by then the deputy CDF and the commander Air Force Francis Ogolla was among the delegation which stormed Bomas to overturn the victory of Ruto. Here is the tape. Those are the videos showing Francis Ogola and comrades who stormed Bomas so that they can overturn the victory of William Ruto. And they failed. And for me, I think Kibochi, the then CDF, and Francis Ogola failed on the mission. Because trust me, a person who holds the army would have done anything. Maybe would have sent soldiers to bomb Bomas, or even jailed Chebukati, so that Raila can be made president. But I think they failed. Either they feared of what could transpire in the country or anything. So the first test for Francis Ogola failed. Francis Ogola failed on the duty of making Raila Odinga president. Fast forward, after William Ruto being sworn in as president, Uhuru Kenyatta came out, went to Mombasa, said that William Ruto's victory must be cancelled because he didn't see that a son of a peasant who was outside the system could take away the mantra from them, and they were not sure that the mantra would be brought back in the fold of the system. One of the biggest mistakes of Ruto is appointing Francis Ogola as the CDF, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, Francis Ogola had broken the code of conduct, attacking Bomas. That is one. By appointing him as CDF, it was a mistake. In fact, he would have been punished. One of the weaknesses of Kenyan leadership is not punishing people because of their tribal sentiments, because of believing on what their communities could say. Okay? He didn't punish him. He elevated him to the position of a CDF. By elevating the Francis Ogola in the position of the CDF, Ida Mutambai was sacked, Kibochi was retired, and many more others were chased from the government. That's what Francis Ogola was supposed to face. Either retire him disgracefully or anything. But William Ruto gave him a olive branch.
I appointed General Ogola. General Ogola is among the people who went to Bomas to try and overturn my victory. Do you know that? But because when I looked at his CV, he was the best person to be general. I called him and I sat him down.
Remember, the system has never settled. The system, according to my interrogations and investigations, they have been approaching Francis Ogola to lead a coup against William Ruto, which Francis Ogola refused to do. And this brings me up to the genius of William Ruto. I think he followed a saying that says, keep your enemies closer. When Francis Ogola refused to lead a coup against William Ruto, because you all know that there has been high cost of living, so they used to approach Francis Ogola to lead a coup, which he did not consider. So the system decided to eliminate Francis Ogola in a plane crash. And it was systematic. It was systematic that he would be eliminated in the plane crash. Because of failing on two missions. One, he failed to give the victory to Raila Odinga. Even when he was appointed as the CDF, he failed to lead a coup. And I may not be surprised that even Hilary Mutyambai may be eliminated, and others who retired from the army, especially those who attacked Bomas, because they betrayed the cause of maintaining the system at the grip of the Kenyan leadership. That's not a matter of fact. In fact, even Francis Ogola knew that he was going to die. He made a speech talking about this. Here's the tape.
In my military life, I have come to learn the reality of human mortality. I have appreciated that life is finite, humans are mortal, and life is short. One morning, you are with a healthy colleague. The next minute, he's ashes and gone forever. Now you see him, now you don't. Seeing colleagues die in war, in accidents, or in sicknesses The reality of human mortality lives with us each day. The remembrance parades, the funeral rites, imprints in us the eventual end of life and service, whether as a serving person or as a veteran. These final motions we go through imprints in our minds the reality of the end of life on earth. One verse that comes to memory every time I witness these motions, and some I witnessed even this week. John 11:25, where Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believes in me, though he dies, yet shall he live. This gives me the assurance that life on earth is in God's hands. So, and when it ends, because of my faith, I know, yet shall I live.
You clearly see that he knew that he was going to die soon. The only problem is he didn't bring this to the attention of the president. To show that the system was involved, the Aden Duale at the recruitment of Francis Ogola came out to say that Ogola surrendered messages directing him that he should go and overturn the victory of William Ruto.
The former Prime Minister yesterday said a statement, and I want to qualify that statement, because General Ogola was very close to me, particularly when he was the Vice Chief of Defense Forces. And when the whole issue of bombers, 15th of August, was hanging over his head, he even told me, and the family can agree with me, we had conducive discussion, that even he has lost weight, that this thing was disturbing him. And Your Excellency, General Ogola was not, as the Vice Chief of Defense Forces, was not a member of the National Security Committee, which is chaired by the Head of Public Service. So how did the General Ogola went to NSAC and to bombers? And as a Muslim, General Ogola shared with me text messages of his superiors and members of the National Security Committee then. And he asked 3-4 times. First, in the morning when he was going to NSAC, he showed me the message that he was given, go represent me at NSAC, because of a prior other commitment of the person who was supposed to go. When he went to NSAC, General Ogola, and a direction was given to him with other colleagues, with a leader, him as a member, to go to bombers. General Ogola, as a respectable soldier and general, he asked and sent a text message to his bosses and asked, what am I going to do in bombers? And this has happened. And General Ogola was told, it's been decided, you go. And I'm narrating what General Ogola today, he's lying here, this man, told me. When he went to bombers, the then chairman of IBC, he told me, kept them for 5 hours. And the 411 came while he was in bombers, saying the results will be announced at 3. And General Ogola then again sent a text message and saying, now that the result will be announced at 3, as a general, as a soldier, what am I doing here? And he was told, stay with your colleague. That text message is there.
Even during the recruitment mass, Raila Amolo Odinga came out to say that Francis Ogolla did nothing wrong by storming Bomas, because he knew that Francis Ogolla, had he put everything that was given into consideration, he would be president. But since Francis Ogolla backtracked and Raila Amolo Odinga was never made president, this statement were made by Raila Amolo Odinga, and this is what he had to say. Here's the tape.
As we lay Ogolla tomorrow to rest, I want us to remove the stigma, Your Excellency, because I knew this man very well. General Ogola would never have contemplated or thought about going to Bomas of Kenya to force Mr. Chebukati to alter the results of last general elections. So if we want this to be removed, as we lay him to rest. Rest in peace, our brother and my uncle, General Ogola. Thank you.
So you clearly see that the system has not settled on William Ruto because they know the mantra has been taken away. In fact, Kenyans must be so happy that this bondage was broken, that another person from outside the system could become president. Now Rigathi Gachagua has a chance, now Ndindi Nyoro has a chance, and others. At first, the system was both in government and the opposition. Raila Amolo Odinga has been in the opposition, but he's the son of the system. And putting in a background that not fully in opposition, because every time Raila Amolo Odinga has entered government, from Moi's era, from Kibaki's era, from Uhuru's era, even during Ruto's era, is trying to work with government. So there's no doubt that the system has not settled to make William Ruto lose the presidency. Because I would think that after Uhuru losing to William Ruto would have reduced under pressure. But even up to now, has not reduced under pressure. Okay. So I'm very sure that the system killed Francis Ogolla for failing to lead a coup, but also for failing to give the victory to Raila Amolo Odinga. Because there is no way, if indeed the army wanted to give victory to Raila Amolo Odinga, they would have given it to him at every cost. They had the personnel, they had the right to even imprison the Chebukati. Okay? They had everything. So it's indeed true that the system eliminated Francis Ogolla. And they are still eliminating everyone who's either not working with them to remove William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, because they wanted this system to take over the leadership of the country till Jesus comes back. From Raila Amolo Odinga to Martha Karua. Martha Karua would be a compromise candidate to give Gideon Moi. Gideon Moi would then give it to the son of daughter of Raila Amolo Odinga as Moho Kenyatta grows up. That was going to be the trend until Ruto broke this trend. Now people like Rigathi Gachagua are ready. Okay? So Francis Ogolla was eliminated by the system because of those failures. Of course, that's my opinion. Drop me your comments by commenting about this. Thank you very much for listening in. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, I implore you to subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. See you on another one. Peace.